Your father ain't shit anymore. I'm your daddy. So you people want to keep harassing me, keep trying to intimidate me, keep saying that, I'm gonna get in trouble? These accusations of pedophilia. But if that's what you want, that's what you get! Okay, first and foremost, you're not being merciful to me. You're trying to get me to kill myself. And furthermore, what's even better is, the age of consent is much lower in Ecuador, too. Fatty, make it happen, fatty, fatty, fat, fat. Full contact, preferably bare knuckle fight. And do I consider a 16-year-old girl a chick? Yeah, why not?
JRC3 is really into little girls.
I do not think it's okay for grown men to be messaging children.
Taco, 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 taco. Ya, cha, 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 cha.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rocknar's LolCow Ranch. I'm your host, Governor Rocknar, and tonight we're starting off with a JRC3 oldie but a goodie here. This is one that he did about 4 months ago, and he said, or did he post this 4 months ago? Yeah, it must have been, because it must have been right before we found him, because he's got his hair just like all shaved off right here. He's got the Private Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket look going here. You know what? I'm going to get just to start off, let's get a snapshot of that. And let's take a look at Crazy Jimmy. Crazy Gomer Pyle Jimmy.
This video is going to be about why I don't believe in IQ fetishism. Amongst the white nationalist community and amongst the alt-right and some of these groups, there's a fetishism of the IQ. Now, there was a book written a long time ago called IQ and the Wealth of Nations that I think cherry picks data. And the reason I think that is as follows. One of the things that's interesting regarding, say, Asia, the Mongolian-type folks do have higher IQs on average than Caucasoids, as do Jewish people. But what's interesting about Japan and China and that whole part of the world is before the intervention of Western and Southern Europe, for Japan, for instance, it took Portuguese and Dutch missionaries and traders to give them the science that we had in the West to raise them up. And they still weren't doing too well until after World War II, when the U.S. stepped in there and really whipped things into shape. And this has to do, and their IQ on average is 109, whereas the U.S.'s at the time was 100. So what you see there's obviously IQ on an individual basis does seem to matter quite a bit, but even that doesn't say where somebody will be in life. There are plenty of very high IQ'd people that have very little and have been very unsuccessful. And it does have to do with the whole organization of society. The reason I'm bringing this up is many, many, many people like to point to IQ as the end-all, be-all. And this is not true, especially in eugenics. See, the thing that happened to eugenics, is, and very quickly I might add, is it became so obsessed with the IQ that it didn't look at any other traits.
Jimmy, you have no IQ whatsoever. You would not be a perfect specimen for eugenics of any kind. Not the Star Trek eugenics wars, not any kind of real-world eugenics. You are just a genetic fuck-up, Jimmy.
It didn't look at emotional stability, which is somewhat important. It didn't.
Emotional stability is very, very important, Jimmy. You don't have it. You don't have it at all. You flip your shit every time that we make a react video about you, Jimmy, because you have not let this go for 7 years about you and Eliana.
Look at the ability of people to work together. It didn't look at any of these traits because there's, that saying, no man is an island unto himself. Well, if you're going to get anything done, you need people. And if you're incapable of working with other people, that's a very bad thing. Now, I know myself and other people, it's not so much that there's difficulty working with other people, it's that the people that you must work with have difficulty working with other people.
I'm sure your coworkers have a lot of difficulty working with you. Nobody wants to work around you, Jimmy, because you are a racist piece of shit. I bet you just spout off all kinds of crazy shit at work, and your coworkers are like, God damn it, Jimmy's fucking spouting off that fucking crazy talk again. That's exactly what your coworkers would have said about you back at your old job before you became unemployed.
And that's dysgenics, in my opinion. There has been a great deal of behavioral dysgenics that has broken down the fabric of society because of this greed, this capitalist greed, where everybody has been looking out for number one and screwing due to lust, reproducing due to lust, and the traits that they seek are not biological traits; they're economic traits, which are not real. They're imaginary. And I can get into that later, but for right now, this is the video I'm making, and it's quite early, so I'm going to let you go.
Wow, that was actually a short video. I was expecting more out of that. Okay, so the first video that he made during our live stream, one I couldn't pull right away, was one where he said why I stopped being a white supremacist. Jimmy, this is the one we were reviewing yesterday on YouTube. I wanted to get a clearer view of it now. I wanted to make sure I had it downloaded to my computer so that you can't delete it later and say you never posted it, okay? Once it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever, Jimmy.
So I got a lot of no votes on my question as, dude, people want me to answer why I stopped being a white supremacist, okay? And somebody in the comments said that's not something you can quit. Oh, yes it is. And I have not been a white supremacist since I've been since about 2015. And come 2016 with the whole Trump fiasco, that was when I really did away with the whole concept of white supremacy entirely. Now, what people need to know, this is the thing. So what was it with when I was saying, oh, I used to be a hardcore white supremacist in 2016? Well, Trump, who ended up being the great white nope, had me a little bit interested. I thought he was going to get rid of the foreigners and make the United States a white Christian Protestant nation again. He didn't exactly do that. I started having my doubts of Trump. And what really turned me off of Trump was actually his supporters that were very aggressive towards non-whites to the point where it was just utterly ridiculous. And what started coming forth as quote unquote white supremacy at the time was comical, like almost cartoonish supervillain nonsense. Like the alt-right is comically cartoonish with the way they hate people that aren't white. A lot of people have this misconception that if you're a white supremacist, then you automatically hate and despise everybody that isn't white.
Gee, where did that misconception come from, Jimmy? Is it the fact that white supremacists actually hate everyone who's not white? Maybe that's it, Jimmy.
This isn't true. This is even as a former white supremacist. I will explain what white supremacy is. Okay, white supremacy is the belief that white people are in some way superior to all other people.
Jimmy, got a newsflash for you, buddy. You're not white. I'm not white. We're actually pink. We're pink skins, buddy. Mm-hmm. Albinos are actual white people, okay? You're talking about white supremacy, you're talking about albinos, aren't you? Because we're pinks. So you really mean pink supremacy, right, Jimmy?
That does not mean that they want to hurt all other people, okay? I would say, for example, I have my cat right here. I would say, as an animal, I am superior to my cat. Does that mean I want to harm my cat? Not necessarily.
Oh, this is exactly why I wanted to save this video, because you fucking pissed me off royally with this comment that not necessarily. You know what? That whole not necessarily bullshit means yes you would. Yes you would, you son of a bitch. And if you know what? I am glad that I'm in Colorado, because if I was anywhere close to where you are, Jimmy, I would find a way and I would break your neck for that.
Or not at all in the situation with my cat. Or, the people don't understand, are you a human supremacist? How many human supremacists are there? Are there people that eat meat? This is what's funny. I'm a vegan for ethical reasons. Like, I don't eat any animal foods for ethical reasons. How many people are human supremacists?
You'll be eating AP's fists pretty soon. But long before that, you'll probably be eating Sam Stutler's fists, and probably before that, you'll be eating Jeff Vader's and everyone else who's going to line up just to beat the fucking moral shit out of you, Jimmy.
That believe humans are more highly evolved than other animals. Now, does that mean that humans should destroy all other animals and do whatever they want with other animals and blah, 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 blah? A lot of people that would consider themselves human supremacists, that use the idea of humans are more important than other animals, will use the excuse, well, that gives me the right to eat animals and consume their flesh and do whatever I want to animals because I am a human supremacist. That's what that is.
No, you're not human at all. No, you are not human at all. I don't know what the fuck you are. You're pretending to be human, but you're not human.
That's the term speciesism. I'm also a speciesist.
No, we don't even know what the fuck species you are either, Jimmy. We know you're not human. But you're definitely not anything that was meant for Earth. Okay, Jimmy. You are evolution. The backwards lottery. You are just the you are just the fucking tail end of everything that's wrong with genetics just lumped into you.
Okay. However, I have certain ethical opinions based in science. I do not believe it is right to eat animals or to torture animals. Okay, because I read Charles Darwin's book, The Expression of Emotions in Humans and Animals, and it really changed my outlook towards how humanity treats animals, and I began the process of becoming a vegan the moment I read the book, actually.
And here's where he spouts off a bunch of pescatarian, ovitarian, fishitarian, milkitarian bullshits.
I went from a pescatarian to a lacto-ovo-vegetarian to an ovo-vegetarian to a vegan, eventually. Okay, and I've been a vegan now, I guess it's been about 11 years I've been a vegan. Okay?
Bullshit. I bet you still go for cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
And you know what? That doesn't make me any less of a human supremacist. Now, what's the deal
I'm more human than you ever will be, Jimmy.
with, for example, do I fetishize Southeast Asian women or Hispanic women?
No, you don't fetishize the cultures of those women, but from the photos that you post occasionally on your community tab, where you show women in karate, martial arts outfits, and they've got their legs spread, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we know exactly what the fuck is up with that, Jimmy.
No. Why do I seek companionship from from Hispanic women? Okay, not necessarily Southeast Asian women, but more so Hispanic women that are more familiar with the concepts of the Americas.
Oh, yeah, this is where he's going to spout off about how white women are all about the Starbucks and all about the fashion and the blah, blah, blah. And you know what, Jimmy? White women are nothing about that. That is a misconception that's been drilled into your fucking head by the goddamn media, by movies and television, which have like a backwards negative view of women, all right? Women are not about Starbucks, Jimmy.
Well, the main reason actually has to do with value systems. during the 2016 election, when everybody was saying if Trump won, they were going to move to Canada, I was saying if Hillary Clinton wins, I'm moving to Mexico. Okay? And unfortunately, Trump turned out to be worse than Hillary Clinton, I think.
No, Jimmy. No, Jimmy. Uh, I didn't even vote for any of those candidates in 2016. Not for the main, Democrat or the Republican, not for any of those independents. I left the President of the United States vote a complete undervote. I was so sick and fed up with how people are being manipulated in the system to either vote blue or vote red, Jimmy. All right? I wasn't responsible for the 2016, bullshit, Jimmy, because I didn't make a choice in that. I didn't feel that any of those people had earned my vote. Okay, Jimmy?
But why did I say that? Well, because the conservative values in Mexico, Latin America has very traditional values. Latin Americans, not the ones that we get in this country, generally speaking, but Latin Americans in Latin America tend to have very conservative values. They tend to believe in a patriarchal system. They tend to believe in things that people that are conservative, like I am a social conservative.
No, you're not.
People tend to not be pro homosexual in Latin America.
Jimmy, there is no Latin America. Okay? There is North America, which is the United States, Canada, Mexico. Almost sounded like the Animaniacs song. And then there's South America, Jimmy. Everything below the Panama Canal is South America, okay? There is no Latin America, Jimmy. All right?
People tend to not be, and this is the thing too, and I'm going to get into this. I'm going to get into how I'm not anti-homosexual just because I don't agree with homosexuality, okay?
No, you just don't like the idea of other men finding you attractive. Well, don't worry about that, Jimmy. No gay man in his sane mind would ever consider you attractive, okay?
Because these are all things that are just being assumed, okay? So with the whole, oh, you can't stop being a white supremacist. Well, what stopped me from being a white supremacist is the pathetic, useless white people that are portraying themselves as that way. And I realized, most white women that I've met, they have no value system, they have no convictions. All they want to do is shop, 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 and they want to find a guy with money if they want to find a guy at all. Most of them just want to shop, and nobody wants to reproduce anymore. Nobody cares about the promulgation of the people. And it just got to the point where, I've had, this is what's funny, even when I was a white supremacist. I think I've pointed this out in the past. When I was at Job Corps, I was in Job Corps when
Oh, this is a fun part of the story because we were watching this yesterday and he was at Job Corps. Don't know where it was, but he was at Job Corps, he said. And he was hooking up with two Puerto Rican women who he wanted to be his translators because he was worried about what the Puerto Rican men in Job Corps were saying about him.
I was 18. I dated a Puerto Rican girl. I dated a couple Puerto Rican girls, actually, one and then another one. And the reason why was I needed them to translate what the Hispanic guys were saying about me because it was not uncommon to get jumped at Job Corps by Hispanics and blacks and other people, mostly blacks actually, very rarely Hispanics. But the Hispanics would get aggressive if they got you alone or something. Like if there was a group of like I don't know 9 of them, they would.
Oh, that sound, by the way, to anyone who's new in our chat and to our ranch tonight, that sound that you hear in the background is there's an Amazon hub facility that's right next to Jimmy's Section 8 apartments, and uh, no, actually, no, actually. Dude, I've been sending out invites to Russians, so kind of leave the Russian bots. I want to see. Oh yeah, it was a bot. Never mind. Yeah, kill that bot. Okay, sorry about that. And hi Jeff. Hi Jeff. I'm in the voice channel if you want to join me here. Um so there's an Amazon hub that's right next to where he lives, and there's all these Amazon trucks that just go whizzing past all the time. One video, one like 7-minute video, I heard like 3 different sets of Amazon trucks just whizzing past his house. They sound like airplanes, yes, but they're actually trucks. They're those big 18-wheel trucks.
Get aggressive with you if they corner you. But with the blacks, you really did have something to worry about. So I did date the one girl I think was Mexican actually, but I dated a Puerto Rican girl and a Mexican girl when I was in Job Corps. While I was actively a white supremacist. And the reason why was because it was a relationship that was a necessity. And also,
Jimmy, you were treating Job Corps like it was prison, like it was jail, like you had to be a part of a gang to be in Job Corps. And like I was saying yesterday about this when we were watching this video, is that a friend of mine who was in Job Corps about 10 years before you were, he was in a Job Corps facility in North Carolina. He didn't have any problems at all blending in. Okay? He went to Job Corps and then he enlisted into the Air Force, and then he got out of the Air Force a couple of years after that, and he had a normal life, Jimmy. He was one of us. He was just as crazy and just as wild as you and all the rest of us back when we were in our 20s, Jimmy. Back when we were in our early 20s. You're 38, buddy.
I've always had. Now, the thing is, do I like the aesthetic of Native American women? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie about that. I think many women look very pretty, regardless of race. Many different races of women look very beautiful. Okay, depending, it's more so on an individual basis, but I do like the Native American aesthetic, which is present in Hispanic women. Uh, so after I quit being a white supremacist, I don't see any reason not to seek out the companionship of somebody that would A, share my value system, B, I don't know, not, be more interested in things that I'm interested in. Okay, with the East Indian girls, okay? When I was in high school, I dated an East Indian girl. When I was actually, no, it was actually right after I had graduated high school. When I was in college, I had dated an East Indian girl. Uh, Unfortunately, she moved to New York to pursue an education, and we broke up.
I think this is where a few weeks ago we were talking about one of your videos where you were saying about how you were meditating, you were practicing meditation, and the father was really objecting about that. And I can imagine why. Is because in East India, family is all important. The father is very, very protective of his daughters. So when an American man like you comes along and says that they want to practice meditation, Jimmy, that father saw right through your bullshit. Okay?
But is that, and I was actively a white supremacist at the time then, too. You see, the problem is, if you're a white supremacist and you have a brain, it's hard to find women that are white that are interested in things that you're interested in: biology, gerontology, medicine, things like. White women, generally speaking, are not interested in things that matter. They're interested in Starbucks. They're interested in uh, any number of stupid things. It's very rare that you will find a white woman that has interests that are any deeper than the very superficial, like, I care about people, Black Lives Matter, and all that crap. That's what you find with the general white female population. A lot of Hispanic women, and in particular Southeast Asian women, especially in in the United States, they don't have the same love of a certain group of people as white women do. And why is this? Because they have to live alongside them. Your typical Latina and your typical Latina from Texas or Arizona, or your typical East Indian girl from somewhere that is not very pleasant, or your typical Arab girl for that much, is not necessarily down with the cause like the typical white woman is, and they're not typically liberal, especially not socially liberal. Now, what's
You make a lot of fucking misconceptions about women and culture, Jimmy. Okay? Jimmy, I don't know where the hell you get any of this nonsense, but It's none of it's true, Jimmy.
What's funny is people don't understand this. Like I said, I've not been a white supremacist since about 2016. The Trump
Well, first he said 2015 in this video. Now he's backpedaled a little bit and said 2016. So he ties it in roughly with that, 2016 Trump Hillary election. But, I don't buy that you're, not a white supremacist anymore, Jimmy. Not for one fucking second.
thing really did it in. I had enough of Trump. But the thing is, I had a friend, another
No, you know why? You know why you disavowed being a white supremacist is because you wanted Trump, you supported Trump, and you didn't want to be associated with the backlash of being a Trump supporter. Because becoming a Trump supporter in 2016 became a curse. If you supported Trump in 2016, you were basically openly inviting other people to just come at you. Jimmy, you didn't want that. You were just like, oh no, I'll vote for Hillary, so I'll go with whoever's popular. Yeah, bullshit, Jimmy. You were hiding yourself.
friend that actually strongly encouraged me to come to Morocco to see her. And I didn't because she was a beautiful woman. Now, a lot of people think Moroccans are black. They're not. They're a third thing. What it is Moroccans are they're part black, they're part white, and they're part Semitic. Like
No, Jimmy. Sam already explained yesterday that Moroccans are white people, okay?
Arab Semitic. And they've evolved apart from those three groups and are a different thing. They're a fourth thing. So my point would be the reason I didn't ever go to Morocco is number one, I get kind of iffy with Islamic countries, but number two, she had already had two sons. But she was a very nice young lady. She was a Muslim, very nice, very attractive, very interested in me coming to Morocco. Uh, she had offered to come to the United States, but never really did. And yeah, I don't have this, like, I never did have this hardcore animosity toward any particular group of people.
Oh, yes, you do, Jimmy. Yes, you do. You have been ingrained from James Robert Clark II, from your father, before he committed suicide. Jimmy, your father was a hardcore racist. Your father would have made Archie Bunker look like a fucking liberal, okay?
Uh, it might surprise people if you've ever been around white supremacists. I'm not a white supremacist, but if you've ever been around white supremacists, it would probably, especially older white supremacists, people that are now in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it might surprise you how much white supremacists actually judge people on a person by person basis, on an individual basis, and by the content of who they are on the inside and who they are by their character versus their race. And I think that's what confuses a lot of people. And what you see a lot in the people that are like younger than me, like the alt right people, is they go overboard trying to cover up their insecurities and of who they are.
Jimmy, 4 words: live and let live, okay? I don't worry about other people's lives. I'm not worried about trying to control their political ideologies or anything like that. I live and I let live. Okay? Just let people be. Let people have their, political opinions or ideologies and beliefs and religious ideas and whatnot. Just let them be, Jimmy. You don't have to force yourself upon everyone.
And such. And I've never been like that. I've never had a problem. I've one of the reasons also, like, I'm familiar a little bit.
No, your problem is you've pretended to be smart all your life, and you know just enough to recite what you know and just irritate the living shit out of everybody else in the room because you just act like the arrogant, smart asshole in the room who, knows everything about eugenics and digenics and ovitarianism and pescatarianism and everything else under the sun. And you just, make people envious of you, and not in a good way. They look at you as like, Jesus Christ. He loves to rub those facts in our face like it's like we're a dog and it's a pile of dog shit. Jimmy, you know what? It, facts will come to people. You don't have to force them upon everybody.
With Latin American culture, because I've worked with so many Latin Americans in construction and hardscaping and landscaping and roofing, and so I've worked with a lot of Latin Americans. That's why when a lot of people were, like a lot of conservatives, blame the Mexicans for coming here and taking our jobs. It's not the Mexicans or the Guatemalans or the Ecuadorians or whoever's coming here. It's not their fault. It would be like Mexico offering me free everything to come to Mexico and make babies.
That's not how immigration works, Jimmy, okay? And for one thing, Mexico would not bring you into their country, because they're not gonna accept any Americans, Jimmy. All right? Who are you kidding thinking that you would, go to Mexico if Hillary became president? That was utter horse shit, Jimmy.
And me not going to Mexico for free everything and to make babies. If I didn't take that offer, I'd be an idiot. And that's what we're offering the people of Latin America as well as the people of the world. And it's a shame that more people don't understand that the real people to blame are actually white politicians. I made numerous videos about this. I think some of them were taken down by YouTube when they went crazy and started purging everything. But really, the people that are to blame for the state of white people in the United States isn't really the Jews. It's and this is the thing. I've also made videos about this. I'm not leaving links in the description. This is just a rambling. But I've left links in the description. A lot of people let the Catholic Church get away with a lot. The Catholic Church controls a lot more in the United States than the Jewish lobby does. Okay? But a lot of people let the Catholic Church get away with it because for whatever reason we've decided to assimilate the Catholic Church. Well, the Catholic Church is far worse, in my opinion, than the Zionists. As far as their meddling in politics and things like that, especially meddling in politics to favor pedophilia and things like that. It's very disturbing stuff coming from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, in my opinion, needs to be banned in the United States. So essentially, what you see happening is like you see a lot of white supremacists. They blame a minority of a minority, the Zionist lobby, instead of blaming the white politicians, because remember, majority white politicians still control the country, like Trump, who sold us out to Israel and Saudi Arabia. They're not blaming the people who are actually doing the selling out. They're not blaming the people whose fault it actually is, which is white people. I don't blame Hispanic people for them coming to this country. It irks me that they refuse to assimilate, but who's allowing them to not assimilate? When my mother's grandmother's family came here, or when my mother's family, I should say, when they came here from Brazil, they had to stop speaking Portuguese and start speaking English, and they had to assimilate into the country. And that was in the 1950s. We're not forcing assimilation on the Latin Americans that are coming in fresh.
Yeah, Chase the Train makes an excellent point in our chat. You're against the First Amendment, James. That's what you just said.
The United States has had long-standing Latin American, from Colorado on down when we took it from Mexico. And the reason I'm against that Aztlan crap is because that's not part of Mexico. I'm not going to get into that, but Mexico far exceeds the limits of Mexico, of the Aztec Empire. So what we took away from Mexico was things that were acquired during the Spanish-American Empire, and we took them from Mexico. And I don't believe that we should be giving Colorado or California or Texas or any of these parts of our country back to Mexico. I don't agree with that.
And Jimmy, you know why we'll never give Colorado or California or Texas back to Mexico, and why it's a ridiculous idea to do so in the first place? Well, for one, California controls a lot of the ports that come into our country. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Ports are important, Jimmy, because you have a lot of Asia Pacific goods coming in to those ports and going out through those ports. So you need those ports, Jimmy, and California needs to be in the United States so that those ports remain under federal control. All right, next is Texas. Texas is holding on to the oil reserves. Texas is a republic, Jimmy, and Texas can decide what they want to do with their oil. And if they want to decide that, hey, we don't want to be a part of the United States anymore, we want to go back to being a Republic of Texas, they could just do that, and they would have the oil to be the wild card in their favor. They could actually, say, hey, you want us back in the Union? Well, it's going to cost you our oil. So we're going to have to charge you a little bit more for our oil. And you know what? The United States will pay that, Jimmy. And Colorado is never going to be given up back to the Mexicans either, because Colorado, the Rocky Mountains are sitting on trillions of dollars worth of silver and gold. Okay, Jimmy? We're never going to give that shit up. We need that too much for our electronics, Jimmy, and for our coin minting.
However, if you keep electing weak, liberal, white politicians, pretty soon we probably will be giving these things back to Mexico. And that's all for this video. I haven't been a white supremacist for a very long time.
Next video is I've not been a white supremacist in quite a long while.
I've always found it quite odd on YouTube where sometimes people are cool with me, like people that are, white supremacists are cool with me until they find out I'm not a white supremacist. Now, what's funny about this is
maybe because they've looked at 7 years of you trying to date someone from Argentina. And they're like, no, you're not a white supremacist, dude. You don't believe in what we believe in.
anybody that's followed my channel, and most of the time these folks are people that have followed my channel quite diligently and are huge fans of mine.
Nobody's a fan of you, Jimmy. Trust me on that. No one is a fan of you.
They tend to be surprised when I point out, I'm not a white supremacist. I believe in hybridization. I believe in things of this nature. This is not new. This goes back to the birth of this channel. I'm a eugenist, but I believe in hybridization. I also believe in euthenics, which is the implementation of environmental standards like education, nutrition, things like that, to help.
Oh, you mean something like what AP was talking about in one of his clips yesterday, where NBC was saying, your kids don't belong to you anymore. They belong to us. They belong to the community, Jimmy? Is this something like that? Are you saying that, kids don't belong to their parents anymore? They belong to you? That you should be their nutrition and educational counselor and exercise and all that, Jimmy? Jimmy, you're full of shit.
Elicit epigenetic responses that make the organism healthier, stronger, etc. I find it strange that people are shocked by me stating I'm not a white supremacist. It does shock me somewhat that people are this perplexed that I'm not a white supremacist. I've never promoted white supremacy on this channel.
Yes, you have, Jimmy. Yes, you have. Okay? Yes, you certainly have.
Have promoted racial awareness, white racial awareness, and for white people to start understanding that they need to start behaving like minority groups and fighting for their own racial, economic, and social justice. Even though I believe it's a lost cause now for the white people to do this, because white people, the ones that are interested in this, are interested in LARPing.
Okay, you know what? Now is probably a good time to let everybody on, YouTube and, everybody in the chat know that your opinions are yours alone, Jimmy. They do not reflect any of the opinions of Rocknar's LolCow Ranch, Governor Rocknar, Randolph Vance, anybody in the chat, any sane person on earth, Jimmy. Okay? Your opinions are so batshit, Jimmy. Nobody wants to believe in them.
And playing at being members of the Third Reich or the Ananurbe or the Thule Society or Thule Society or what have you. And it's a big problem. Instead of trying to put something out there that's socially or politically viable that could actually save white Americans or white Europeans in some cases, I'm more about the white Americans. I'm more concerned about what's going on in America. Instead of putting out something that's viable and that could be used, instead of fighting for racial, economic, and social justice for white Americans and professing this, a lot of people like to LARP as white supremacists.
Like you like to LARP as a white supremacist, Jimmy?
I don't think I've not been a white supremacist because it's not what has objectively come to view. Now, if we're basing everything on the past, perhaps, but we don't live in the past, we live in the present. And the behavior of at least white Americans and white Europeans that I'm seeing is not, and white South Africans, this is not behavior that speaks of supremacy. This is behavior that speaks of inferiority and hiding behind paper tigers and false idols and all sorts of stuff. I did a whole, now I did take it down so I didn't get taken down for talking about Asatru and how Asatru is pathetic. And it's similar to the Cherokee Booger Dance. And the Cherokee Booger Dance.
Did you just say Cherokee Booger Dance? Jesus.
Was a thing that was created by the Cherokee to mock their white Anglo-Saxon Protestant conquerors. And it was a joke. And I see nothing more of a lot of these resurrections of ancient Aryan stuff to be a revival of, or not even a revival. It's we was. It's we was. I made a whole thing about, and I took that down too, for someone. It was called "We Was Spaniards," and it was about how Latin Americans that are clearly not Spaniards like to LARP as Spaniards because they like to think they're Spaniards. Anything besides what they are, when they're actually mostly Amerindian or of a mixed heritage. And I think that people should be proud of who and what they are, and not try to be what they are not. It doesn't mean, and the thing is, I've talked about the failures of psychometric testing and eugenics. I've talked about it. This is all in the description. It goes back years. I don't understand why people are so confused. I've talked about how National Socialism fights for social justice. Okay? If you want to be a National Socialist, throw that conservatism bullshit and throw that libertarian bullshit out the window and accept that you need to fight for racial, economic, and social justice for your people.
Jimmy, you know what? The Constitution says that all men are created equal. Actually, the Declaration of Independence says that. But, it's written into the Constitution that, we are treated equally, that, we're not, given unfair advantages one group over the other, okay?
Okay? And just because you're fighting for racial, social, and economic justice for your people doesn't mean you have to leave everyone else out. But it does mean that you have to look toward your people first. But the thing is, you need to understand that you need to start looking toward these minority groups. Like,
how about looking towards your fellow man, Jimmy? How about that? How about, you, instead of looking, at the outer, skin color, you look at the inner content of their character? How about helping your fellow man, Jimmy?
Like La Raza, like some of these black activist groups like Black Lives Matter, start to look at what they did. How did they do this? How can we do this? People think I'm some kind of lunatic when I say, and I've started embracing Stalinism. Okay, straight up Stalinism, because you know what? That's going to deliver. Now, I can't make it politically viable because nobody else will embrace it. They want to embrace these frou-frou forms of communism.
About 15, 20 seconds ago, I heard a cat collar in my headphones, and I thought it was Bobcat, but he's in his box right now asleep. That was Jimmy's cat. That was Jimmy's cat we heard just now in his video, because that was the sound of a cat collar I heard. See, I do these videos partly as a way to channel out my anger towards James because he is a narcissistic piece of shit, and also because I'm like Columbo. Columbo is like one of my favorite shows when I was growing up as a kid. So I love, kind of, it makes my brain kind of think like Columbo. The more that I watch these videos, the deeper I get into his mind, the more craziness I'm able to decode. He's like a Rubik's Cube that I'm slowly twisting and turning back into its normal color patterns.
But my point is, I've started embracing Stalinism because Stalinism works.
That is his cat collar. Yes, that was his cat collar, I heard. Yeah, he really needs to show us, his cat. So,
Okay, it works for what our people as well as the people, the American people need. It's what is better than what I was promoting years back. And I've made videos about this, about communism with U.S. values, and how essentially communism with U.S. values is Roosevelt-style progressivism with a little bit more pep in its step. And I don't understand what people have.
There's his kitty. Yeah, there's his kitty. Okay. James, you know what? Just make more videos with your cat. Just make more videos with you, spending time with your cat. Okay? That would be a better video that, we would all rather watch. It would definitely not put you anywhere closer to a relationship with Eliana, but it would be a much more tolerable video of just you spending some time with your cat. Jimmy, you remember that video I put out Christmas Eve of Bobcat watching the squirrel videos? I wanted a break from reviewing your shit, Jimmy, and I wanted to do something creative, and I wanted Bobcat to have some fun.
The disconnect people have. I have not been a white supremacist for many, many, many years. I have promoted human hybridization. I promoted the cosmic race since before I even knew what the cosmic race was. This should not be a news flash to people following my channel. One of my biggest problems with this idea of a master race. Now, this is what you need to understand. And I'm going to put a link to how Europeans are not one race. White is a political term. I myself am like an eighth Italian and Sicilian. So I don't know what there's like a 16th of each, I guess. I don't frickin' know.
Jimmy, do you want me to quote from True Romance, the Dennis Hopper, with Christopher Walken scene about, how the Moors came from Africa, Jimmy? Because, are you saying that, you're part Italian? Because if that's the case, then you got some Moors blood in you, buddy.
But I have to get a DNA test. But my point is, the so-called European race is not a race. It's multiple subgroupings of the Caucasoid race. Other members of the Caucasoid race include Semitics and other people that would not necessarily be considered Caucasoid. So I think what people need to understand...
Just call yourself Pink from now on, Jimmy. You're a pink skin, all right?
And is, when you really get down to the nitty-gritty and you really want to look at it biologically and scientifically, you really have to reflect on what is what. And hybridization causes benefit to the offspring. This is not a joke. It's not a lie. It is the truth. When you stop looking at things ideologically and start looking at things scientifically and embracing the science behind the situation, you get a different outlook than if you're thinking straight ideologically. I have my own views. I don't hide my views about much. I hide my views enough that I don't get banned from YouTube, but sometimes that doesn't work. But my point is that this is absurd for people to think that I'm somehow indebted to white people. I spent most of my life trying to wake white people up. Literally the majority of my life. Okay? And pretty much all of my adult life. There comes a time when you have to say, enough is enough, nobody's waking up. And the ones that are awake are in another dream. They're not embracing what they need to embrace to succeed. They're embracing what they need to LARP. That's all for this video. Do check the links in the description now.
All right, so good. We've gotten through 2 videos in under an hour, so we're actually well ahead of schedule for tonight, Jimmy. And we got a bunch of Adrasdea to go through too.
So,
Oh, and this is one. This is one where he's promoting Adrasdea. So, do I really care about Adrasdea? Mary, yes. Mary. Oh, when Mary sees this video, she is gonna flip her shit at you, Jimmy.
Hat Man accused me of bullying women, right? Okay? Now, I want to be clear about something. Now, I don't go on her live streams anymore because I realize, look, she told me that if I quit making videos about her, she'll quit covering me. I don't care if she covers me, okay? And I'm not purposely making this video about her. I'm making this in response to Hatman's allegation that I bullied her. Look, I truly do believe that what her and I had was a misunderstanding, okay? And it happened, we did have good communication, and then the communication broke down. I don't know why the communication broke down. I had assumed it was because I started getting more sexual with the nature of the things I was saying as it was getting closer to the time that I was going to get to Argentina. Okay, I assumed that's what it was. She is obviously picking and choosing certain things. Obviously, from the screenshots that I shared, people can see that we also had different conversations also. I do have other screenshots. I don't have a reason to disprove anything she's saying at this point because I don't care.
Oh, you want screenshots, Jimmy? That's right. You know what? I completely forgot about this, Jimmy. Yeah, let's go to your screenshots here because I wanna get. Come on, my Googles. Okay, so there we go. Because I wanted to take a look at your community tab, Jimmy, first, and also I want to take a look at something else. Let's take a look at the Google Drive, Jimmy, that Eliana granted us access to. Oh, you know what? Let's just kind of go through and find a screenshot or two that, you really don't want us to read. Let's see. Oh, this one looks promising. Okay, so also, as I started to take down my offensive Facebook posts, I noticed a ton of cute stuff I posted. With your recent Lord of the Rings phase, I thought you'd like this. It honors both your Incan heritage and your love of the Lord of the Rings. Jimmy, you were trying to find little ways that you could bond with her, and it wasn't working, okay? Jimmy, Jesus, you were just fucking pathetic on that. All right, so let's go back. We'll find another screenshot. Oh, this one looks promising too. This is first thing I intended on doing when I got to Argentina for over a year. Eliana, this might seem silly, and please don't take this the wrong way. I promise you won't break my heart. Basically, what I want to say is if you do have a boyfriend, let me know after I show you the plane tickets so I can prepare myself emotionally. You don't have to let me know, and I obviously wouldn't try to break you up with your boyfriend if you had one, especially if you liked him, but oh, James. James. It's this one. Oh, this one looks like one of a screenshot that you sent to her that she sent back to you. Oh no. Okay, so oh, what is that? I got my PO box. I elaborate more on Facebook. Jimmy, why would you send her your post office box application? Okay, please know I really like you and never want you stressing out over me. You're a superb friend to me, and I adore you for who you are. Oh, James, love is guarded. I keep telling you this. Love is guarded. Don't pour your heart out for every woman that you meet online. Oh, okay. So here's one that you. Okay, someone is too beautiful for my company. I truly hope to meet you in RG Land. RG Land? I totally adore you. James, you're exactly like that, walking cell phone in the mid show segments from, Late Night with Adonis Paul, the walking cell phone that says LOL, that's LAAAAMMMEEEE. And then, the woman's in the shower, she's like, I have an idea. Send me nude pics. Jimmy, you're exactly that level of creep. Let's go back. And just a reminder that this show is brought to you by, well, it's not, I'm not one of the spokesmen, but if you visit cbdx.com and you use promo codes AP or ROTC or 44420 or Virgie, make sure you use the 2 Y's at the end, get 20% off your order. You get a free gift. Also, you get priority shipping on any order that's over $80. cbdx.com carries disposable vape cartridges, moon rocks, flour, dabs, and gummies. It is not the CBD that you get in the gas station. It is legal in 39 states and it will get you high. CBDX.com gets you lifted. And we're going to go back to Jimmy's video here. Transition. Wait. Oh, did I was going through the Google Drive. I forgot even to show you guys that. I was so excited about that. Dang it. Yeah, well, okay. So yeah, there was, let's pull these up again here. Yeah, there was the one where someone is too beautiful for my company. Truly hope to meet you in RG land. Then there was a couple more. Oh, let's take a look at this one. This will be a new one. I know, I beg your forgiveness. Jimmy, this is one that where you were in fix-it mode, as ASDSS calls it. You were in fix-it mode, Jimmy, for Eliana Morales, Michaela Morales from James Robert Clark. Please know how much I really like you and how much your sweet disposition has made me feel wonderful. Oh, James. Okay, now we'll go back to your portrait mode videos. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the video.
I don't know what she's sharing. As I said, I didn't watch the live stream. Some people have told me that I actually look pretty good, that she actually made me look pretty good, and that, friends of mine that are therapists and former therapists, well, co-workers of mine, they're still therapists. I don't work in mental health anymore. But they told me that I looked very good, and that it was clear that, it's a misunderstanding, and that I genuinely, they can tell I genuinely cared about her and things of that nature. And I think that, I think there's only so much you can take something out of context before it becomes a blatant lie. And I don't...
Wait a minute.
I don't think she's truly blatantly... Well, that's not true because she has lied about me, but that's not important. The important thing is that I've given up. I know that there's nothing I can do to get through to her on a person-to-person basis. She's not going to believe me that it was a misunderstanding. She's not going to believe me that the reason I was freaking out is because I had people attacking me, claiming to be her boyfriend, claiming to be her...
Jimmy, this is the same video that you put out for the past 7 years, and you put this video out today. Okay? You're pretending that you are caring about, Adrasdea so that you can, make yourself look better in Eliana's eyes. Eliana has never cared about you for 7 years, dude.
Friends claiming to be her father, claiming to be her mother, claiming to be her sister. She's not going to believe any of that. It's the truth, but she doesn't believe any of it. And she doesn't care what evidence I show her to the contrary, like that I show her proving my point. She doesn't care. So she's a lost cause. It doesn't mean I didn't love her. It doesn't mean that I don't still consider her a wonderful person. It doesn't mean that when I loved her from the bottom of my heart. I really did. And she knows that. Okay? She knows how much I truly loved her. Now, whether she believes that I still do or not, that's up to her. I don't really love her in the same way because after everything that she's done to me, but I also accept the fact that there's a lot of anger on her part, a lot of frustration on her part, which comes from a misunderstanding on my part. In my defense, one of my friends stated that she had some audio file. If it's the audio file I think it is, I think it's the audio file that was sent to my Instagram messenger. That's the only audio file I'm familiar with. Besides some audio files she told me, like in the very beginning of talking to her, she sent me some audio files.
He just posted this about 20 minutes ago.
But if it's the one from Instagram, I did tell her the next day we were actually still friends on Facebook. I didn't listen to those audio files. I have no idea what's on them because every time I tried to play them, my ex-girlfriend was all up in my biznatch. So I couldn't listen to them, and I told her that. And then she blocked me on Facebook. And after that, I did leave her alone for a number of, or like almost a year, maybe 9 months, until this Tig Manson person started in on me. Okay, I did leave her alone.
Tig Manson, whoever you are, if you're out there, you have an invitation to come onto the Rocknar's LolCow Ranch so that we can hear your side of all this, because we would love to hear it.
Okay, and then the trolls started. And that's what got me going, is I thought that she was being kept from speaking to me. Now, that's not what's important. I'm only putting this out there because I don't like being accused of bullying women, or anyone else for that matter. I don't bully anyone. I don't bully men. I don't bully women. I don't bully children. I don't bully anybody. I don't...
Bullshit, Jimmy. Bullshit. I don't bully anybody. Bullshit, Jimmy.
bully anyone. Okay, I am not a bully. Okay, but the way that people are treating Mary is absolutely disgusting. And to claim that I don't care about her. Okay, let me put something out there. I have a history with 4 years of homelessness. Mary was homeless. When I worked in mental health, and not even when I worked in mental health, I worked with a lot of drug addicts in mental health. I actually personally have a lot of disdain for drug addicts, but I'm going to get to this, and I'm going to explain this. When I was homeless, I've never had a drug problem in my life. I've never had an alcohol problem in my life. I've never had a problem with substances besides nicotine in my life, which I consider no better. And I used to tell that to my clients when I worked in mental health. My nicotine addiction was no better than their heroin addiction. It's just a different substance. Okay? I didn't get all high and mighty. Like at the time I was chewing tobacco again, that doesn't make me a better person than a heroin addict just because my substance is a different substance. What makes me a better person is I'm not robbing people to get my tobacco. But my point is, the way that people are treating Mary is disgusting. The woman is clearly, visibly, mentally and emotionally disturbed. She has clearly been homeless. She has clearly had a rough life. And the way that you people do not let up on her, okay, you do not stop harassing her. You do not stop messing with her, knowing that she has a severe mental impairment. Schizophrenia is a severe mental health issue. In fact, some people consider it the most severe, quote, mental illness that there is.
Oh, she is going to flip her shit when she sees this video that you made of her, Jimmy. And that's a perfect screen grab like there. I'm just going to take a screenshot of that smug little look on your, uncooked donut dough face of yours, Jimmy. All right, so when Mary sees this video and she hears that you're calling her schizophrenic, she is going to flip her shit. She is going to make the video saying, I don't have schizophrenia, James Robert Clark III. I have schizoaffective disorder. There's a big difference. See, I can do impressions of Mary, Jimmy.
And she admits to having schizophrenia. Look, I don't know what happened with whatever happened. Like, this is the thing. People accuse me of, they falsely accuse me of being a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. Okay? People are probably falsely accusing her, because I wouldn't doubt if, like me, they've been trolling her for years, and this was all a situation where they were getting photos of her to use against her now. I don't even think it was a kid. I could be wrong. I could be stone cold wrong. But I know you lie about me. I know you lie about her. Okay? I've never, and even if like the whole fake she murdered somebody or whatever, I don't even know the gist of that. But the thing is,
Jimmy, I always put a link in the description for my videos so that you can watch the Adrasdea trilogy, okay? It's 6 hours, but you need to watch them, okay? Because you will understand the truth about Mary Barone, All right. And if that doesn't convince you, I can have Aunt Kathy send me the 400 pages of court documents that show that she was almost convicted of murder for her part in the death of Roberta Laws because she talked Kenneth McBride into doing the deed.
It does not give somebody the right to torment somebody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to make money off of them. That's all you're doing this for, is to make money off of her. And yeah, it's sadly enough, it's a legal loophole you people have found. I've talked to law enforcement, and I know it's illegal.
Oh, you called the police about CBDX, didn't you? Jimmy. Jimmy, why would you want to go after other people's legal livelihoods just because you're a fucking narcissistic prick who can't get his own way? You know what? From now on, you've had this oppositional defiance disorder for so long that we're going to project that oppositional defiance disorder right back into you. Whatever you want, we will deny you. Okay? With certain exceptions. You might say, oh, I want you to leave me alone. And we'll be like, yeah, that's fine. We will leave you alone. As soon as you stop making the videos, buddy, then we'll leave you alone. But Jimmy, whatever you want, we will forever deny you. If you want a steak, we're not giving you a steak, okay? We might give you like a crust of bread or something. We might.
Loophole. And the only way, and the reason you pick on poor people is because we don't have the ability to actually hire an attorney. And unfortunately, the attorneys I've talked to are idiots.
Because you're not talking to the free legal aid lawyers, Jimmy. You're talking to a bunch of overpriced hacks who want you to pay them a retainer. Okay? You need to talk to free legal aid, like we explained this to Mary a few videos back.
Want to include other people that shouldn't be included in it. But my point is with Mary, you accuse me of not caring about her. I care about Mary as much as I care about any other person, man or woman, but in this case, she's a woman, being bullied relentlessly, tormented relentlessly, harassed relentlessly, and her
because she makes pity donation videos on YouTube begging for people to send her money for weed, for rum, because she's homeless, because she doesn't want to work. Jimmy, and that's after the fact that, she was, responsible for the death of Roberta Laws, okay?
Her mental illness being taken advantage of to make her look like a disturbed person, because she is a disturbed person. And it's not right. It is evil. I don't even believe in evil. I believe I am beyond good and evil. But the point...
No, Jimmy, you are pure fucking evil, okay? You are evil fucking personified, okay? Look at that little look I've just caught on your face there. Let's take another snapshot of you there. There we go.
The point is, if I was to say something is evil, this torment of this woman is absolutely disgusting. It is uncalled for. It is inhuman to do this to anyone, regardless of what she has done or has not done. If she really did break the law, if she did send whatever to whoever, this is something for law enforcement to handle. This is not something for a bunch of jackasses on the internet to profit off of, which is what's going on. And you're tormenting this woman. What are you going to do if something bad happens to her? What are you going to do if she, I don't know, actually does kill herself like you people are trying to get her to do?
No.
It does.
No. Mary's too smart for that, okay? Because Mary is an actor in the star of her own show where she plays a fictionalized version of herself. She plays a fictionalized version of herself that goes out and cries and begs and lives a life of hardship and, misery. And it's all about trying to, make people donate to her on Facebook.
It doesn't matter to you people. That'll just be a documentary supercut thing about her killing herself. Because you people are extremely sick people. You're horrible people. just terrible freaking people. I don't understand. Now, there was a time when I was like, yeah, AP seems like a decent guy, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Say my name, Jimmy. You know you want to. You've said it before in your own videos. Say my name. Make my videos that much more popular on your own channel. Say my name, Jimmy.
It's all a setup. He goes from being a decent guy to threatening he wants to take me out in a karate match, and then chickens out of the karate match because he's a puss. And then he accepts the karate match and states that he's going to sexually assault me and rape me during the karate match.
And you believed all this, Jimmy? Jimmy, that's fucking trash talk, okay? Every fighter does that in the ring, okay? Nobody takes any of that shit seriously, okay? It makes them fight a little bit harder, but they don't take that shit seriously.
These are the people that we're dealing with. Adrasdea and I. These are the people we're dealing with. And people are going, now I feel much worse for her. Like with me, I have obsessive compulsive disorder and I have post-traumatic stress disorder. With me, you might need to get to know me to know that there's something going on under the surface.
Jimmy, I have obsessive compulsive disorder and I have PTSD, okay? And I don't act as crazy as you do, okay?
With her, she is visibly disturbed. To pick on somebody with a mental illness that is this visible is so disgusting and so wrong that it is just, it's beyond words how disgusting this is. It's just the worst possible shit people could be doing to somebody.
You're mad because you and Mary are all alone and being exposed for the world to see what frauds you really are. You're mad because no one will take your side. Even Alan Powell is fucking using you for LolCow laughs, Jimmy.
And this is the thing. Like I said, when I got on the internet, and I'm still pretty naive on the internet. Okay, I am. Like, I don't understand, if somebody follows me on Instagram, okay, I follow them back and like some of their photos. I don't assume that people are going to take that as anything more than I liked somebody's photos.
Jimmy, you were liking photos on Instagram of 14-year-old girls, okay? And it was just the fact that they shared the last name Morales, okay? And you thought that they looked like Eliana. That was why you were liking them, Jimmy. They fit that little descriptive mold that you love so much.
I don't assume that, because I'll admit, I'm a little bit naive when it comes to the internet. Okay, that's how I got catfished the one time. But I didn't fall for it again, now did I? And I'm not going to. Okay?
Yes, you will fall for it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Jimmy, you are predictable, okay? You are like the weather. Of course you will be catfished again, all right?
So the thing I do learn...
In fact, I think you're probably being catfished by 2 or 3 different other people at the moment who all want to make you think that they'll be your special friend.
Learn pretty quick. But the thing is with Adrasdea is... I think that people are taking advantage of the fact that she has a severe mental illness. She is severely disturbed. She has stated that she's severely disturbed. She has stated that you people are driving her to suicide, but you don't stop. You just keep it up and keep it up and keep it up to make money. And this is just... this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything this disgusting taking place on the internet before this. I just haven't. And I'm fairly sure that what happened with Mary is the exact same thing that happened with me. It's, you've been trolling me for years. You've been waiting until the fruit was ripe to fall from the tree, and then you spring into action. And that's what happened with me. Okay, you harassed me for years. You used the one thing that mattered to me, and you know that was the one thing that mattered to me. You had to figure out what it was. For a while, you were pretending to be former co-workers of mine, but you found what really mattered to me. You know what really mattered to me, and you tried to destroy my life by turning that thing against me. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter to me because you can't turn me against that thing. And whatever happens, I'm still me. I accept everything exactly the way it is. I accept that this is not a situation that I have control over. Okay? It's not something I have control over, so I'm gonna let it go. Let it be. There's nothing I can do besides that. But with Adrasdea, there is something I can do about it, and that's the right thing. I can speak up. And I would wish other people would speak up and say this is not proper behavior. This is not proper behavior to treat a woman like this, and it's certainly not proper behavior to treat somebody that is this severely mentally disturbed like this, that has said she's mentally disturbed, that has repeatedly asked people, please stop this. You're trying to get me to kill myself. And then you have people in her comments section telling her to get a rope, telling her the same things they tell me. This is not proper behavior for people. And then you want to tell me I'm this and I'm that. No, you people are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, inhuman vermin. You do not belong in human society.
He's in his Francis Dollarhide mode again. Remember a few videos back when he was talking about, how we were insects, and I compared it to a scene from the 1986 movie Manhunter, where Francis Dollarhide has Freddie Lounds tied up in a wheelchair, showing him photos of the next family that he's going to pay a visit to, and explaining that, this is going to be the transformation, and that basically Freddie Lounds is the pet for Will Graham, and how the red dragon always kills the pets first before he kills the family. So Freddie Lounds was the pet in this case, and he was making a point of it to show Will Graham, that you are but an ant in the afterbirth. So
You are disgusting, pathetic, wicked people.
all right, and he made a new video, which I'm going to try to restart my video LAN controller player for this because something was going really kind of weird with that here. So this video, trolling, gaslighting, owning reality. Okay, so go back to that. I'm going to turn off the dip sign. There we go. Back to that. And we'll go ahead and play the video.
So I want to do a video about how trolling is used to elicit a conditioned response of anxiety, fear, panic, anger, etc.
Are you feeling fear, panic, anger, etc. right now, Jimmy? Because you posted this video during my live stream, and I caught it, Jimmy. I caught it because I made a point to review this, Jimmy. Your videos do not escape the internet. They don't get posted and then, oh, I'm deleting them. So it's like the video never existed. No, we're catching them. We're catching them in our butterfly net because you are the little butterfly that we're not going to let get away, Jimmy.
In the targeted individual. Okay. Now, there's going to be links in the description to explain this. Now, first,
you only consider yourself targeted right now because you've been exposed as a stalker. Okay? The moment that Eliana went on Daywave and explained to the world that yes, she was real, no, this was not a catfish, yes, she was being stalked and harassed, yes, this had gone on for 7 years, Jimmy, once she had turned the lights on in the kitchen, you scattered out of that kitchen like a fucking cockroach.
First thing we need to understand is what is the mentality of a troll? A troll is somebody that has the dark triad traits, particularly Machiavellianism, and has, a high degree of narcissism.
Jimmy, you got that because I quoted the dark triad on a stream, I think, was it one stream ago or two? But I definitely quoted the dark triad and I put it up on my Google and I showed everybody what I was seeing. So, Jimmy, you got that dark triad shit from us. You can't pull, oh, I'm a narcissist because of this, because of the shit that we showed you were.
9 times out of 10. And in the case of the people that many of us are dealing with, they're stone cold psychopaths. If you see the way they treat folks like Adrasdea or Brandon, Okay, these are psychopaths. These are
Okay, so he's talking about EI Brandon. This is another homeless person that, makes his videos. He basically lives, I think, out of like a tent in Los Angeles, but he always has like one of his Obama phones and he's always making his videos and he's trying to be a YouTube star so that he can break out of his homeless rut. But dude, even Brandon has disavowed you. Okay, James?
people that have, uh, well, they gain so much pleasure out of the suffering of others. They're sadistic psychopaths, honestly. So that's number one. These are the people you're dealing with are sadistic psychopaths that get off on trying to get people to harm themselves or to behave in ways that are unbecoming publicly and then shame them and cause them suffering.
James, all you have to do to make all the trolling and suffering that you're going through go away is to just stop making these fucking videos. All right? We have told you this time and time and time again. Just stop making these videos. Leave Eliana alone. Truly leave her alone. Don't make any more videos about, oh, this is a video and I promise it will be the last one. Because you never keep that promise, Jimmy. It's never the last video with you. You always have to get that last word in. You always have to be in fix it Jimmy mode, where you're trying to make sure that what you said is absolutely 100% perfect and there's no way that it could be misinterpreted as anything else, and they should fall in love with me the moment I say these magical words to them.
These are very sadistic people. So, their main tool is what's called gaslighting. Now, gaslighting is a means of stating untruths and reaffirming those untruths, sometimes with the help of what are called flying monkeys or narcissistic agents. And that's what's going on is you have a group of people that have their own manufactured reality, and they strengthen that manufactured reality amongst themselves, and they want you to question your own sense of reality. What do you think is really real? This is what they use against you, okay? And this is why it's so important to own your reality, to own who you are, and to own what you know is true, to own what you know to be objective reality. Okay? So that's very important. Now, furthermore, what you have to understand is, okay, well, I'll cut to the chase here. Okay. Some people might wonder, why am I so unbreakable? I'm not breakable. They have not broke me, right? They haven't broke me.
Oh, we're breaking you, Jimmy. Little by little, video by video, we are breaking you. We're breaking that eggshell that's protecting your little brain, Jimmy. Your emotional eggshell. We're breaking through that every video that we make. We just create little itty bitty cracks and micro fissures in that eggshell emotional brain of yours.
Another gentleman they haven't broken is a gentleman named Donovan Schultes. Okay? We don't break. Now, with me, I don't know what
Donovan disavowed you also, Jimmy.
his situation is. With me, I've been dealing with gaslighting my whole life. Gaslighting in my family, gaslight. Now, this is the thing, gaslighting in the mental health system. Now, I've worked in mental health. I've also received services from mental health.
You were a janitor in a mental health facility, Jimmy, which you just happened to work out a deal because you were homeless and had no place to stay. But you were a janitor, and they basically fired you because you were drawing swastikas and shit on the walls.
One of the tools they use in mental health, despite how much they deny it, to get you to become treatment compliant is to gaslight you, to convince you that you're getting better when you're not, to convince you that things are working when they're not. And that's the thing is that's one of the things my one psychiatrist respected about me is a lot of times therapists and psychiatrists and case managers will all get together and form a little group of people, and they'll be like, your medication is working, you feel better, right? You feel better. Your medication is working, you feel better. And they'll repeat this to you until you believe it, right? But you're not feeling better, you might be doing worse. And I was the only person that he had ever met in his years of working, and he was the head doctor at one of the local state hospitals for a while before he decided to put his full time into the outpatient practice that he and a colleague had started, which is where he met me, of course. So he was amazed that I actually would say, no, this shit ain't working. It's not making me feel better. I'm doing worse. I'm objectively worse. I'm having more issues, not less. Uh, and I was able to stand firm with what was really going on. I could own my reality. I could lock into what was objectively true. Now, the thing is, I have a lot of Machiavellian traits, okay? But unlike a narcissist or unlike a psychopath, I have a very, when I feel emotion for somebody, I feel very intense emotion, okay? When I love, okay? Uh, and that's an important thing to understand. That separates me from other people that are truly uncaring and calculating. I can be, but it's difficult if I feel for somebody, and that was the reason that people used a certain someone against me, is because it made me feel. Okay, just like when they used my former employer against me, it made me feel anger. Now with the other person, it made me feel sad, deep sadness. Okay? With my employer, it made me feel anger. If they can make you think with your emotions and not your brain, that's when they got you. Okay?
You mean like how we've got you, Jimmy? How we've got you spiraling and making all these fucking crazy videos supporting white supremacy, supporting Jeffrey Epstein, supporting all, all your shit, trying to highlight, other lolcows that you want us to bring onto the ranch apparently. Jimmy, you are just, so fucking in love with the sound of your own voice right now that every video you make, you just think to yourself, "Yeah, I nailed it."
And this is there are places like with me, I'm a very stubborn person. I am very Machiavellian also, and I'm somebody that does not give up easily. Okay, I believe in perseverance. However, there are times when you simply just need to cut your losses and say this isn't going anywhere good.
Yeah, Chris Chan knew how to cut his losses when it wasn't working with a gal pal. Chris Chan knew when to walk away. He didn't need 7 years of reminders of the same gal pal. Chris would have, if Chris Chan had pursued Megan Schroeder for 7 years, just like you had pursued Eliana, then that would be a different fucking story then.
Okay, so once you can stop with the emotional thinking, if you can step back and stop with the emotional thinking.
This leads more credence to my theory that if you and Christian had been switched at birth so that the person that would, be the genetic James Robert Clark III was to be raised by Bob and Barb Chandler, you would turn out exactly like Christian had turned out. You would live in this perpetual fantasy world where, Sonichu is real and, Quickville is real and all of this stuff. And you would be forever looking for a gal pal and you would be forever being trolled for your bad artwork. And the person who would genetically be Christian Weston Chandler or Christine Weston Chandler now, let's make sure that we honor their proper name, that genetic person would have turned out to be like you are, would have been a brutal narcissistic bully.
And bring back the objective thinking. Okay? And one of the things I found helpful with this are the exercises in DBT. I'm going to leave links to DBT exercises, but I also am going to leave links to a lot of other things. Okay, another thing I found extremely helpful is deep meditation, which is also part of DBT is meditation, but deep meditation, deep breathing exercises, zazen, just sitting. Okay, so I found this to be very helpful, but the problem with the zazen or just sitting is some people it fills their heads with thoughts, and you have to learn to let your thoughts come and go, not pay attention to the thoughts. And this will help calm the mind and calm the body. Okay? And this is in DBT, but I didn't learn it from DBT. I learned it actually in karate class.
You know what, Jimmy? You know how I've learned how to calm my mind? With CBDX.com. If you visit CBDX.com and use promo codes AP or ROTC or 44420 or Virgie with two Ys, like I said, you get what's legal in 39 states. You get the disposable vape cartridges, moon rocks, flour, gummies, and dabs. You get the quality stuff. You don't get the stuff that you get in the gas stations, Jimmy. And Jimmy, why would you be trying to shit on what CBDX is trying to do? They're just trying to get people lifted, Jimmy. They're just trying to have people, feel a little fun and a little joy at the end of a brutal and rough day. And Jimmy, you would deny them that pleasure? You would actually support the drug cartels? You would actually want to enrich the drug cartels and you would want to, make it so that there's a black market for marijuana again? You sick motherfucker.
And I expanded on it and things of that from my own research. We call it mukyum in Korean. So the thing is, how do you fight back against this? Well, I've explained it. You don't let yourself get emotional. You don't let yourself get conditioned. See, that's the thing is these emails, they hammer you with emails. They hammer you with harassment. They have to elicit this upset in you, okay? This craziness. And number one, the easiest way is to remove yourself from the situation. See, with me, I've recognized I have nothing to lose. The other way, now I'm going to leave a link to my videos on the 8 laws of health, the Adventist 8 laws of health. Now, I'm not a big religious person, but I am somebody that has embraced the 8 laws of health for my own health because they help you basically resist childhood, like there's certain stress factors in childhood, like abuse, emotional and physical abuse, and all sorts of stuff like that.
Stress factors that you weren't able to avoid in your own family, Jimmy. Jimmy, no one is able to avoid those stress factors, okay? It's called growing up, all right? And Jimmy, you know what? My dad, he was an abusive prick too, but I learned how to stand up for myself. You didn't.
These things shorten your lifespan. They make you less likely to reach 100. They make you less likely to become a centenarian. However, by embracing the 8 laws of health, it makes you resistant to these childhood traumas, if you will, that cause epigenetic changes, which lessen your ability to live to 100. Well, by embracing the 8 laws of health, it reverses this. It helps you to resist this. And the last 8 law of health, trust in God. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm not a big religious person, although I have come back to a belief, a pantheistic belief in God. But what is a belief in trust?
Oh no. Are you back to believing in God again? Okay, so if anyone's new to this channel and this is your first time watching, James has gone from worshiping God because he thinks that God is an invisible man who lives in the sky who grants wishes, and he's asked God, time and time again to grant his wish to be with Eliana. And God's like, that's not how I work, dude. And then he goes to Satan. And Satan is, saying, well, I can give you $1, but I can't give you Eliana. And James doesn't want that either. So James has gone back and forth between worshiping God and worshiping Satan to the point where I'm convinced that when he dies and goes to the afterlife, he's going to go to a special section of the afterlife called Mlorpland. MLORP land. Mlorpland. And in Mlorpland is Mr. Mlorp. Think of Mr. Mlorp as kind of like a character from a Rick and Morty episode where, if you buy the t-shirt at Spencer Gifts that says, heaven doesn't want me and hell's afraid I'll take over, that shirt acts as a non-fungible token, okay? And it tracks you. And basically when you die and you go to the afterlife, you go visit Mr. Mlorp. And Mr. Mlorp isn't heaven, isn't hell. It's Mr. Mlorp. Welcome to Mr. Mlorp land, Jimmy.
Trusting in God. Trusting in God is not necessarily trusting in God.
Trust in Mr. Mlorp, Jimmy.
Okay? Trusting in God is simply understanding. I like to use the philosophy in martial arts, or Aikido. Aikido, particularly, is where it gets stressed enough, or a lot. But we have it in Tung Sudo too. You have a sphere of influence. There are 360 degrees of influence that you have control over, and it's how far you can reach. Okay? If you can't reach outside that sphere of influence, you can't properly defend yourself. You can't properly influence anything because it is not within your sphere of influence. So trusting in God is not necessarily trusting in God. You don't even need a belief in God to do it. You can be a stone cold atheist. What it is it's recognizing that things that are outside your sphere of influence are outside your sphere of influence, and you have no control over them, and you have to let go, and you have to step back. And just because something's outside your sphere of influence now doesn't mean it will be outside your sphere of influence later, but it's important not to think that way, because that can lead to you trying to push something that's not necessary. If something's going to come into your sphere of influence, let it come into your sphere of influence. Don't seek it. Okay? Don't aggressively seek it, because that's going to stress you out. Instead, embrace the fact that you have certain limitations. One of the hardest things it was for me to grasp was that I have a problem with working. Okay, I have a problem because of my emotional issues, because of my mental health issues, because of my PTSD and my obsessive compulsive disorder. I have an issue with working. It never turns out well for me to work a full-time job, even though I've done it very successfully for very long periods of time. It's not something that ever turns out good for me in the long run. One of the hardest things, because I'm somebody that puts productivity, I am somebody that had to learn that there are more important things than productivity, like one's own health. Okay? I'm somebody that will work an 18-hour day. Like when I started my first security job. See, as a kid, I did a lot of construction work. I taught karate. I did a lot of real physical labor work. When I became an adult, when I became like 19, that or 18 or 19, one of the 19, I got my first security job. Okay,
Top flight security, Craig.
and they work you to death, and I would do 18-hour shifts because nobody would relieve me and all that. You can't just go home if nobody shows up to relieve you. You got to stick around. And I would work myself to death. I'd easily work 6, 7 days a week. I would always volunteer to work holidays because, as far as I was concerned, it's more money in my pocket.
Yeah, I've worked holidays too, Jimmy. Some days, some holidays I have worked and I've not been given the choice of. Like at the inconvenience store, they would schedule you so that your shift would begin like on the 25th at like 10 p.m. so that you would only get like 2 hours of holiday pay. And then at midnight, it's technically the 26th, of course. So then they pay you just regular standard hourly pay. So yeah, I'm aware of some of the bullshit that they would do. Other jobs I've had where I worked at Apple Technical Support, which was a fun job. Uh, Christmas Day, we would work, and that was like a special day for us because basically it's everybody calling and they've forgotten their iCloud passwords all day. That's all it is. Christmas Day in an Apple call center, everybody's going to call and they've forgotten their iCloud passwords. It's basically you're just resetting iCloud passwords all day. That's it. It's fun. It's cake. Every call lasts less than 3 minutes. It makes the job go so much easier. They bring in pizza that they've had like, Papa John's cook that day. So like the manager and a couple of other people, like assistant managers, are like making like 20, 30 pizzas and they're constantly bringing it to us throughout Christmas Day. Jimmy, Christmas Day is a blessing for some jobs and a curse for others. And I've had, the displeasure of being blessed and I've had the honor of being, well, no, strike that, reverse it.
Okay, I was a very money-driven person, a very career-oriented person.
Jimmy, we're all career oriented, and that's what you've made me into. Jimmy, you have revitalized me as an entertainer on the internet because now I do a live stream program. I have over 180 subscribers now. I love the fact that I have reinvented myself and I'm not doing the boring ass Star Trek Online streams, okay, that we're only getting 1 or 2 views at most. Jimmy, you are a gold mine for subscribers and views. Everybody wants to know about you, Jimmy, because of the bullshit with Eliana. Everybody wants to know what's the latest James Robert Clark news. And you know what? They're coming to my channel more than ever. More than ever, Jimmy. I'm starting to get more popular. Eliana has, a wrench on my channel, Jimmy.
When I went through that, when I stopped being a security guard and I went into other things, back into construction, back into factory work, I did the same thing. Okay, and then when I finally went into mental health, that was very bad for me because it's not something you can pour yourself into. Okay, mental health plays tricks on your mind, especially when you do support work like I did. I was a support person, so my job was to help people file for welfare, help people get their social security, fill out the paperwork, take them into the community, integrate them into the community.
Hi, I'm addicted to crack, and this is my sister, and she's mentally disabled. We'd like to get on welfare, please, Jimmy.
And I worked with a lot of very unwell people with really bad schizophrenia. I worked with a lot of people with really bad substance use issues. I worked with a lot of people that were mentally challenged that nobody else would work with because they were scary people. I worked with a lot of people that just got out of prison and that nobody else would work with because they were scary people, but they needed services. So I worked with a lot of people that needed a lot of help. Okay? So when people need a lot of help and you're a caring person, that's something it's hard to separate yourself from. Mental health was certainly not the best fit for me as a career choice because it's something that you can't, if you're somebody like me, you can't leave it at work. And on top of that, some days I was working 16, 17 hours a day because I was salary and they trick you and you got to do paperwork and you got to do this and you got to do that.
Yeah, I've been tricked before because I've been a salaried employee and I was actually making less as a salaried employee than I was than, the other employees who at that time were getting like $10 an hour. Jimmy, they had found a way to like take advantage of me and they were working my ass like, 14 hours a day for like 2 whole weeks at a time. I wasn't getting any sleep. I was just barely, getting through the day without screaming at people. Okay. Customer service jobs are terrible. You should not work any kind of customer service job. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to work on my day off because you know what? I got to scrounge and I got to make the rent, Jimmy. I'm going to do what it takes because I value myself as a person and I value the fact that I have a roof and shelter and food. Okay. And I value the fact that I'm taking care of Bobcat. So I'm doing this more for Bobcat than I am for myself. I'm going to work tomorrow on my day off. Probably not get that many hours, but I'm going to work as many hours as I can on my day off just to get that extra little penny so that I can make sure that I got the rent paid next month. Okay, Jimmy? I do whatever it takes. You live off of government assistance. Your life is a joke compared to anybody else's.
And I never worked in mental health before. Okay? So accepting my limitations was very humbling. Okay? It was very humbling. And I think that accepting one's limitations, accepting that we're not capable of doing everything and anything, and I always thought I was a very humble person.
Jimmy, I've done more in my lifetime than you'll ever accomplish. Okay? I've literally kind of led a Forrest Gumpish kind of life. In 1991, I was a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. I won $8,750. I won twice on the $3,500 space on the puzzle fraternities and sororities. Jimmy, that, that was one of the best achievements of my life. My dad was sitting out in the studio audience, and watching, and he was proud of me, Jimmy. That was one of the, happiest moments my dad ever had in 1991, was seeing 20-year-old me going on Wheel of Fortune for the first ever college week that they had. Yes, I did go on college week, Jimmy. I am not lying when I say that. There is video of me, and Merv Griffin Productions will confirm that I was a contestant in April of 1991 and that I won $8,750. That year, it bought me my first vehicle. I got like a used postal Jeep for $663. And then I got a Mac Plus computer. And unfortunately, I kind of spent the rest of the money in a matter of a few months on like college tuition and books and pizza parties for me and my friends. But Jimmy, that was the fun experience. And then I've had other fun experiences. I've worked for Apple technical support for 3.5 years. That wasn't such a fun experience, but it definitely qualifies in terms of like Forrest Gump level. And in between that, I ran for Congress, Jimmy. Jimmy, I've done all kinds of things that you'll never hope to accomplish in your life. You've accepted your limitations. I haven't.
I really did. I always thought I was a very humble person.
You know what my other expectations are of myself, Jimmy? You're going to make me an internet star with these videos. Yes, you are, Jimmy. My talent agent is probably watching this channel right now going, this is the craziest goddamn thing I have ever seen in my life. And yet people are watching this. And you know what? Jimmy, you're the future. You're breakthrough television, Jimmy.
I'm not somebody that's aggressive toward people. I'm not a controlling person by any stretch of the imagination, unless it's things like work or something that I think I can control. Like I used to be very meticulous about keeping my place clean.
What if in my Forrest Gumpish life, I get that spot on Saturday Night Live Weekend Update, Jimmy, and I get just 5 minutes every Saturday night roasting your ass with a video just like this? I'll have access to a lot fancier graphics, and I'll be able to like have an editing team to say, okay, cue up this part, cue up this part, cue up this part. Jimmy, I'll have an entire team of technicians at my disposal, Jimmy. All of them ready to help do my bidding. They'll be my flying monkeys, Jimmy.
Keeping everything perfect, keeping my appearance perfect, keeping everything about everything perfect all the time.
Yeah, the NBC wardrobe and makeup will probably have to like keep me perfect too, but you know what, Jimmy? Because I'm bringing this, because I'm introducing a segment on SNL Weekend Update called the LolCow Ranch Update. I gotta dress that part, Jimmy. These are gonna be my signature suspenders, Jimmy.
Everything had to be exactly the way I wanted it, okay? Accepting, now I didn't control other people, but I would control other things because I was always under the influence of I can control my life, I can control my sphere of influence. And that's true. But everyone has limitations. And it can be very liberating to accept the fact that we have limitations, and this is the acceptance of trusting in God.
For a half a second, he almost said liberations, which would have made more sense because his subconscious wants to be free. It wants to be liberated right now from the conscious mind that's trapped within. The conscious mind is obsessed with Eliana, obsessed with, trying to be the smartest person in the room at all times, trying to align with Eliana on everything. And the subconscious is like, dude, I've wanted to let this go for 7 years. Okay? Jimmy, your subconscious inside has wanted to let this go. I know that you've had dreams about this. I know that you've had dreams about crying, Jimmy. Okay? Ask me how I know about this. Okay? I know you've had dreams about crying. And the reason that you cry in your dreams is because you can't accept yourself as the way that you are emotionally. Okay? You are forever projecting this image to the rest of the world that you yourself do not believe. And when you go to sleep, your subconscious mind is saying to yourself, Jimmy, I've been trying to tell you for 7 years that it isn't working. And then when you're listening to your subconscious and your conscious brain is turned off, that's when you have the dreams about crying, because that's all it translates into is a dream about crying. You don't understand why you're crying, but it's your subconscious telling you you need to stop. You need to think about things in a different direction.
Whether you believe in God or not, it's the understanding that, there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much a person can do, and there's only so much a person can influence. And at the end of the day, we all have to recognize that we have limitations. And to me, that was the most liberating thing I ever accepted. Now, unfortunately, when you think emotionally, like the situation I've been in now for years, due to the trolling and things like that, I was not equipped for this because I didn't understand this. I had to learn about narcissistic abuse. I had to learn about trolling. I had to learn about online harassment. I had to learn about workplace harassment like I put up with at work. I had to learn about all these things that I never even considered myself a victim of because I didn't even really consider that it existed. As weird as that sounds, it is still perplexing to me that people actually do this. It's astonishing to me that people make money like this. But it took me time to learn this stuff. This was something I had to learn. Now I'm a quick study, but it takes a while to fully grasp the situation, especially when you're thinking emotionally. Especially when you think there's someone that needs your help. Okay, especially for somebody like me. I'm a helper. I'm somebody that wants to help other people and lift them up and keep them from making mistakes and keep them from having problems. And that's what really got me hook, line, and sinker with this is I could not put it down because I didn't want someone to deal with problems. I thought people were causing them problems and things like that. And that's what got me. It wasn't myself. It was me caring about somebody else. And like I said, eventually I had to trust in God.
That's interesting. I've noticed how not only does he talk with his hands, he uses his fingers as kind of like a claw. Like he's trying to claw at the words. Like, trust in God. Like he has to grab those words out, kind of like he's kung fu gripping them, like he was explaining in yesterday's videos, and how he's like, got to rip the muscle out of those words. Trust in God. He has to rip that trust out of God in order to do it with his kung fu grip.
And recognize, I have certain limitations. There's nothing I can do about certain things. And because of this, I have to step back, recognize my limitations, and trust in God, to trust that things will work out the way that they're going to work out. And if something comes into my sphere of influence, then I can defend myself against it. Then I can change the course. But if it's not within my sphere of influence, I can't influence it. I want people to check the links in the description. I have a lot of links, particularly to Dr. Ramani, and I'm going to leave links to Dr. Sam Vaknin. Dr. Sam Vaknin is an Israeli psychologist. I believe he's also a physicist. He is a very brilliant gentleman. Okay, a very extremely brilliant gentleman that I think has given me the most insight into how narcissists think and feel. He himself was a narcissist or is a narcissist, which gives him a unique insight and ability to let you know what a narcissist really feels, and that a narcissist they have a complete emptiness, a void, and he teaches you how to practice nothingness and things of this nature. And it's difficult. Like if you're a feeling person, a thinking, feeling person, it can be extremely hard to step back when you think somebody else's life is in danger, or when you think somebody else is making really bad mistakes. And that's what got me. But the need to recognize one's own limitations and recognize that one's sphere of influence is only so far is indispensable in dealing with this type of abuse and this type of harassment And like this is just like what targeted individuals deal with online in real life, etc. This is real stuff. And this also goes under the classification of group harassment and group narcissism. These are real things. I don't, I never, like when I first started noticing this stuff, it was probably about 3 years after I was being harassed. And the reason why it took so long is I'm not a paranoid person. I don't believe in Freemason conspiracies. I don't believe in space people. I don't believe that people are coming through the walls at me. I don't believe in, all this hokey pokey crap. And it looks like I probably should have. Okay? Not saying that I should have succumbed to conspiracy theories and all this stuff. And all this stuff. But what I should have done for a very long time is recognized, these people, I had other targeted individuals coming to me on social media telling me I was a targeted individual. I didn't know what that was. And when I looked it up, I was like, wow, this is batshit insane. Okay? So I was like, that's not me. I mean, yeah, whatever. And then what really got me to recognize it was the actual in-person harassment and things of that nature. And then that led me to understand, wow, they're trolling the hell out of me. That there's a lot of online aspect to it, not just real life aspect. But the real life aspect is what I noticed because it was more, to me, people harassing me online until it really got like this. People harassing me online, I just thought were douchebags that were trying to have a good time by making somebody else feel bad. I didn't realize there was an intention, a plan, and an ability for them to make profit off it like they are. Now that I know all these things, it gives me a peace of mind. It lets me understand what their motivations are. Because I'm one of those people, I studied criminal justice. And one of the hardest things...
Yeah, you studied criminal justice because you wanted to be a cop, because you wanted to exert your dominance over everybody else who wasn't a cop, basically. You had Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader was a compliance officer. He was a dog catcher for, the town that he lived in Kansas. And he was the brutal, sadistic kind of dog catcher who would, basically lure the dog out of the front yard, open the gate, lure it out, catch it, say that the dog was roaming in, out in the street. And then a couple of hours later, oh, well, I'm sorry, your dog was put to sleep. I'm sorry about that. Dennis Rader is exactly like what you are. Well, he was. I think no, is Dennis Rader alive or dead? I think he's alive. Yeah, but it's the exact same mentality that you have, James. You are exactly like Dennis Rader. Okay? You want to be the BTK killer. Irony, BTK sold alarm system ADT. And he knew how to override the codes for the alarm systems that he was installing, which was primarily ADT was, booming in business because of him.
For people to recognize, and I don't think people do recognize this to this day. When I was studying criminal justice, I've studied crime. Criminology has always fascinated me. I think one of the downfalls is because we have this legalistic way of thinking, and we think that, well, somebody has to have a motivation to do something, and if they don't have a motivation to do it, why would they do it? And that's when you have to realize, like I have from studying crime, I've studied crime. Criminology has certainly interested me for a very long time. And some people don't need a motivator to do anything, and anybody can do anything to anyone. You might not think a little old lady can be a serial killer, but trust me, a little old lady can be a serial killer. It's happened. You can look it up. You might not think that a woman can be a serial killer. It's happened. Look it up. You might not think that a woman can be a predatory pedophile. It's happened. Look it up. It happens all the time.
Yeah, he's hit that buttery note of repetition again. It's happened. Look it up. He repeated that 3 times.
And this is the thing that I think we allow ourselves to get into these comfort zones so that we don't lose our minds. And while statistics matter and while common sense matters, sometimes common sense is somebody's only motivating factor for doing something to someone else is that they just feel like it. They just want to do it. It's entertaining to them. Or they just do it for whatever reason. It doesn't matter at all to them. They have poor impulse control or something like that. And this is where like my study of criminology actually paid off. But like I said, once I realized these motivating forces, I started realizing these aren't just everyday people having fun. These are criminally minded people exploiting other people's weaknesses, other people's emotions, other people's what have you, to make profit. Okay? And that's what I've noticed. That's what I've continually noticed with this. And that's all for this video. Do follow the links in the description. Links in the description will help you gain an understanding of what's going on. And they will help you understand things you can do to protect yourself. Definitely check in with Dr. Ramani. And there's a lot that you can do to protect yourself and strengthen yourself against the gaslighting attacks and the narcissistic abuse, which is essentially what